I guess we'll just start right off then. Starting with myself here. And I am going to cover one of the series that I think honestly made waves even before this most of the season was announced, and that is Spy Kyoshitsu or Spy Classroom. This is a light novel original done by Feel Studios. Feel Studios is one of the more famous studios out there nowadays. They did stuff like what is it? They did some of the DC Takapo stuff, DC2, I think. They did Takashi Kashi, Taiko Alternative here. What else here? Uh, I always forget that they did Papa Kiki. I always feel like Silverlink was the one that did Papa Kiki,
Man,
but no, it's
Papa
actually
Kiki's a
Feel.
throwback.
Yeah.
I
They
don't like
did.
how that series ended.
I mean, there was very few ways that that series could have ended well,
There's
but
only one way
uh,
with an actual cool girl, the one voiced by Yui Horie,
yeah, I guess
not
that would have
Usatsumere.
been a pretty standard ending. Um, they did Minami K and so on. So this is headed by I believe Kawaguchi Kiichiro, a very veteran director. Did like a whole bunch of stuff spanning years and years. He's kind of backed up by also again another pretty relatively veteran excuse me, art director in Umino Yoshimi, who did stuff like Dot Hack, worked on Dot Hack, did some Fate stuff.
Which
Rama
Fate
again
stuff?
goes back years and years. What?
Which Fate?
Let's see. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Never mind, that's the wrong person. Not Fate, but he did Dot Hack. He did wow, he did some like Love Hina stuff here. Mega Man,
Wow, an OG.
Rama, some background art for like Rama One Half stuff.
Oh,
Uh, but yeah, that the rest of the the rest of the production staff is mainly, I mean, they are still experienced. They have 15 plus years of experience at this point, but they're still sort of more on the modern end of the crew. Again, starting from mainly 2004, 2005, 2007 onwards. Uh, I keep calling them like I wanted to call them like newer, but again, I guess they do have like 15 years of experience at this point. But that's sort of the general like experience of the script writers, the sound directors, so on. So bringing in some sort of intermediate level people in along for the ride. Most of the voice acting cast is pretty much all the A-list actors, actresses that you kind of know and love today. And that's sort of the reason or part of the reason why I had a slight negative bias going into this because recently, and this is sort of my complaint against voice actresses being idols, and this is not just me saying this is also people like uh, Nakamura Yuichi and so on saying this, despite Nakamura Yuichi himself being his own brand and trying to sell his own brand, right? But voice actresses kind of selling themselves more off as idols and off of their sort of real life personalities and stuff and branding, rather than their works within anime and other media, right? Doing their actual voice acting work. So just like how Eminence and Shadow so a lot of times sort of sold itself or sold the anime based off the various voice actresses that it hired. In my opinion, Spy Classroom anime, regardless of the virtues of its light novel original, the anime is selling itself sort of off the backs of the branding of the famous voice actresses. So I already had a slightly negative bias due to that coming in that I did try to dampen down, but you guys should know that that was sort of my mindset. Again, Yuki Aoi, Sakura Ayane, Minase Inori, Ito Miku. If these first four names seem familiar, it's because they've been in pretty much every series ever. Especially again, most infamously, these four have been together in the Gotobun, right? Gotobun no Hanami-ome, the quintessential quintuplets. The only one that's been left out of this five is obviously Taketatsu Hana, right? Um, uh, Again, those four plus Toyama Now, plus Uesaka Sumire, plus Kusunoki Tomori, Kasumi Aiko, and obviously what is it? The ever infamous Tenchan, Amamiya Sora as the main character, and the main sort of their classroom teacher, right? The big spy tutor mentor figure being Umehara Yuichiro, most infamously known these days again as the person who voiced the Goblin Slayer, right? So these, the casting is speaks for itself, but I just really don't like the way that
You counting
anime.
Goblin Slayer as his best role? Really?
No,
All
that's
right.
not what I said. That is that is not what I said. I said he is known usually these days. If you were to say, hey, to some random person who's he Umeda Yuichiro, and then you try to get that person who didn't know to like link the voice, right? The easiest way to do it would be to reference Goblin Slayer and then
Incorrect
say that
Basically,
that
Spire.
was
Incorrect
that would
Spire.
be the biggest motherfucker on every gotcha like subreddit post. Okay,
yeah yeah
when a new character
Correct.
comes out that's voiced by him, you know, like the
yeah.
Goblin Slayer, like he's just gonna be the biggest one there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His
But
most notable role is Weather Report in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean.
I see. I
No
apologize.
one's seen Goblin Slayer Spire, but if you bring up JoJo, they'll be like, oh yeah,
Yeah, no
Weather
one's
Report.
seen Stone Ocean because Netflix forgot to tell people it came out.
Yeah, that's true.
Jesus. Anyways, so yeah, I again just note my bias coming in. I guess I'll just say the summary straight up. Following a great war which engulfed numerous countries and came at a huge human cost, nations have forsworn overt warfare. Now, battles are waged between spies, and the small Din Republic boasts an especially capable young man known as Klaus. When Klaus loses his mentor and de facto father, he is given the man's failed mission and told to assemble his own elite spy team to infiltrate the neighboring country. Klaus agrees, but his idea of elite seems more like incompetent, and the girls he picks for his mission don't look like they could spy on someone 10 feet away from them, much less infiltrate an enemy nation. So, again, this is sort of Klaus the spy, although a lot of the viewpoint is from the one of the main heroines, Lily, as well. So, Lily and the rest of the girls, the spy, like the cute, like, sort of girls in that look like spies, are in the spy like academy kind of thing, are gathered by Klaus, the really strong spy. Um, and he is told to go on this sort of what is known as the impossible mission, right? And he has to uh, he has to take these girls and again, as the summary said, go into the neighboring country and fulfill the impossible mission. And most of this is a combination of the girls talking together and a set of mini arcs, as far as I can tell. I don't know how episodic it will be in the later episodes, but my guess is it's going to be generally divided into these mini arcs. And this current mini arc, this initial mini arc, is these girls kind of getting to know each other real quick, and then going off and doing this mission, and helping out Klaus and doing whatever. I won't spoil the first mini arc because I believe it has already concluded, really. But
Can I just say real quick that how pretentious that plot summary is?
what do you mean?
Let me read it off of Wikipedia. After a devastating war, there has been a realization that weapons are now too powerful and destructive. Thus ends the era of war fought in the light, and begins the era of war fought within darkness. A war fought with information and trickery. A war of spies. Why?
Yeah,
Why would you
so
do
the
that?
year 2023.
Like
But yeah, I
every
think the
spy series has to be. Oh, we have to fight a war in darkness, and it's like you just
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the
you're
point of spies.
you're trying to be cool, but you're just like you're trying to be what is it? You're trying to be you're trying not to say a certain word, but you're saying it anyway. You're
Mhm.
Just say it already, man. All the other spy series say it, but this
I
one won't. Spy Family outright says, "Oh, it's a Cold War," because right? Because
Well,
that's
I
what it
mean,
is.
it
It's
doesn't
light and
technically. I
darkness.
mean, it technically
There's the
doesn't
hot
really
war
have to
and
be
a
a
cold
Cold
war.
War.
I mean, it's not
Like,
that sort of reference is not really the important part of the spy premise, right? I mean, the-
Not really.
my
It's just a setting. It's like, oh, if they're
yeah,
trying to be
it like
pretentious, light and dark, it's a Cold War. Just say it. I don't like that.
I
How
mean, it
dare
depends on
you?
it does depend on what's happening. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I'm not gonna say I know what's going on in Spy Classroom, but like, even with like contemporary shit, like, it's not like we're really in a Cold War with like Russia, but we are both trying to attack each other
You know what? You
through
know what
like
else was good? A good
subterfuge
spy
constantly.
series. Spy series that takes place during the Cold War. Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, I mean that
yeah,
is
yeah.
Cold War though.
And they say it's like, oh, we're got like make sure not to turn this Cold War into a blazing hot one or whatever, something like that. That was in Metal Gear
Ye-
Solid 3.
Again, I don't think I sympathize with where you're going with this. I There are two reasons why I don't think it's really that relevant. The first one is sort of the obvious one in that these writers are not the brightest bulbs in the bunch, and they probably haven't thought that far ahead. The second reason, and
Hey,
I think
this
this is
person should play a Kojima game then.
yeah, I think the second reason, and it's the bigger, I think, underlying reason, is that it's okay to make this sort of like pretentious ish, oh, like it's just about to things are just about to explode or under the surface or whatever whatever they want to say, right? I think it's okay to be pretentious depending on where they take the premise with it. Because if that sort of, oh, everything's bubbling underneath and there are these secret societies and everything's, oh, I'm going to make this intricate lore and blah, 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 blah. And the author does that, the author's feet need to be held to the fire, right? Because it's important that, if you're going to walk the walk, you got or if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, right? If you if you promise people an intricate lore and an intricate premise in a very unironic sense, then you need to prove it. You need to create this engaging story with that background. But there are, I think, plenty of other series, especially something like, again, Spy Classroom, where that's not as important, in my opinion. Even something like Eminence and Shadow, right? They're all like, oh, there's this secret society and doing blah 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 blah, right? But that's not really important. I mean, like, it extends the story insofar as it gives like random hooks on where the character should go and what the character should do. But the the reasons why people read Eminence and Shadow, something like Eminence and Shadow, or something like Spy Classroom, are not really related to that deeper background lore. So I think having that sort of cut window dressing, having that layer, again, a pretentious layer of like, oh, spies, like intricate, whatever, nations, blah blah blah, is okay if you don't chase it too far. If you don't chase it too far and just be like, yeah, we just have some sort of like cheesy, serious spy shadow clan thing, and the rest of these characters are kind of like spy themed, but they're kind of just doing their shit. If you do it like that, I think it's fine, which is what I think Spy Classroom did. And Spy Classroom, again, within these mini arcs, it's 80-90% focus on these girls sort of using their skills to solve the issues or like do the mission or what undertake the mission, right? So, like Lily has uh a skill set that involves, being able to withstand poisons and stuff like that. So maybe she'll use, that skill to confront people, right? Or like to set up traps or whatever. And stuff like that is um I think most of the series is focused on that. rather than the sort of interactions and interpersonal character developments of the cast, which is kind of interesting because I think in a standard because if I initially said, like it's not really about the spy thing or it's not really about the deep like complex spy thing, it's about a bunch of like girls trying to like solve the mission, you'd just be like, yeah, that's just cute girls doing cute stuff, it's just instead of four girls in a Japanese high school club, it's whatever, it's however many spy girls in some sort of fantasy setting or not fantasy setting in some sort of like older setting, Victorian-ish setting, doing spy things, and that's it. But I think in those series, there's by the nature of how those series develop, there's more time and there's more value given to these character interactions to going through the background stories of the characters earlier and being like, okay, I have this personality and girl is talking with this other girl. How do they interact with each other? What evolves from that, and so on. But in this series, in Spy Classroom, there's a lot more of okay, we just have these girls. They do these things. They talk a little bit, in between, during intermission or whatever. But most of the time, they just go out and solve the mission. And I think that's an interesting aspect of that. And I do like both the cheesy aspect of it and how it doesn't lean too hard on trying to get to the comedy and like, oh, like what? You did this, but then you tried to be very serious, but then a cute cat jumped onto your lap, or like those sort of like non sequitur humor like aspects of usual like cute girls in a cute club series. There's not as much of that, but and the series doesn't push it as much, which I think is admirable. But there is this sense of very cheesy, the usual spy versus spy type comedy where it's like, I did this, but then I countered your thing with this, but then I countered that thing with my third thing, and then I countered your fourth thing with my 50th thing. And that like sort of layer on layer
So
and layer
so
on
like
layer in action.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or like James Bond, or are we talking Austin Powers? Which one?
Um, I would say almost like it's a little bit more like an Austin Powers spy versus spy within that like sort of comic sketch segment where it's just like, oh yes, I have this thing ready. Ooh, like what? You messed that part up or whatever it is. It's like they get it like all through this intricate plan and then like they forgot to plug in the machine that actually kills whoever, right, the protagonist. And sort of how they drive a lot of that comedic aspect again, which I do like, but even that they're not like leaning that hard into it. Again, I appreciate that more than when series explicitly go through and say, haha, like impressive spy thing is happening, but in the middle of it, cute thing happened. Oh, you should laugh. I'm not a big fan of that, although I know that's a very like standard interjection and like tone change in a lot of series. But I do like that sort of general natural flow of that into the cheesy, spy versus spy kind of thing. I like the general premise of the series. I do like I'm not sure if I necessarily super like the idea that they're going to continue on more mini arcs and do again like 80-90% action because it kind of gives me Princess Principal vibes. And whenever these like mini arcs kind of keep extending and keep going on and just do more of this action, eventually it comes a time where the author feels the need after a couple of mini arcs to kind of like sacrifice one or more of the girls. And just because, it needs to be exciting or it needs to be threatening or exciting or whatever it is, right? And I'm not like, I can see that shit coming from a mile away. So I think if the format becomes a little bit more milder and a little bit more episodic, it might be good. I haven't read the light novel, so I don't know what the developments are. I think right now, though, the general formula is pretty good. It's an interesting, slight variant of the cute girls doing cute things. And I don't mean just by the premise. I mean by the actual like structures of like how much does each character talk about themselves as opposed to actually fulfilling the mission or doing spy stuff. What's the type of comedy, so on. I do like this, um, and I do plan on watching more of it, but again, I am a little bit afraid of potential forced drama after a couple of arcs. If there's gonna be, you know, episode 8, 9, 10, or whatever, and it's just suddenly somebody gets, kidnapped or like, they suddenly get their heads lopped up or whatever, I'm out. Like that's not. It's a very. That's sort of a very boring way to incite drama that I'm not here for, and I'm not a big fan of. So.
How serious is this series?
It's not very serious. So it'll
So
like the story and like the mission will be all like, "Oh, we have to do this. We have to invade the country." But it's very obvious that like outside of just like trying to give that sort of mission and the lore some level of seriousness, most of the series, the tone of most of the series has a decent amount of levity. It has a decent amount of lightness. Like the girls are just talking like, "Oh, we should do like spy stuff." Like that's mostly it. Yeah.
so so prediction, you don't think anyone's gonna die in this series?
I don't think my prediction is I don't think anyone is going to die in this series, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the author just like again or if the anime director added in on a mini arc near episode 9 or 10 or whatever that's just like, by the way, you're just gonna have to make some sort of dramatic decision to either save these girls or whatever, do some bullshit. And I'm just gonna be like, okay, bro, like sure. Can we get on with it? So that's my guess. But I do think the chances are pretty low. And Ceci also says a similar thing. Zero of these girls are dying. This is a no stakes story. Yeah. Yeah, at best, one traitor that is immediately forgive. Session knows where I'm trying to go with
There
this, and I
are
think
no
it's very low.
traitors in spy world. It's called being a double agent,
Yeah, that's
sometimes
true.
even being a triple agent.
Yeah, but I do think the chances are very low that that something super messed up will happen because I think this series is pretty light in tone. So, but yeah, that was my review
Oh,
of
hold
Spot.
on.
Yeah,
So let me ask, how strong are they?
well, I
What
don't
is
know.
their
What,
power level in comparison to other series?
I want to say pretty low. I
Wow, they
mean, like
suck.
they have like their like different like skill sets, right? But it's not like
I'm
it.
asking whether how strong their classroom is compared to other classrooms.
I think honestly they're even weaker than Princess Principal people. Obviously, they're much weaker than Eminence and Shadow, right? Because it's like Eminence and Shadow, like they have like actual like freaking powers and
What
shit.
about
But
assassination classroom? Let's compare to them.
Assassination Classroom. I mean, like this is not including like
Not including Koro Sensei.
yeah, not including Koro Sensei. They are probably better.
Damn, they
Yeah,
suck then.
they're
Nagiso,
probably
you
better.
suck.
No. Yeah. They are the spy classroom people are stronger than the assassination classroom people, is what I would say. But it's not like again, it's like human skills. It's like well, it's human it's like edge of human limitation skill sets.
All
It's
right,
not superhuman stuff.
so let's compare them to a spy series then. How are they? How will they compete against Spy Family?
Bro, you literally have a mind reader in Spy Family. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
think.
I mean,
I think it's a little bit hard to compare the two.
Yeah, but she's
I
nerfed
mean,
because she can't let anyone know that. So like,
yeah. Also,
Yeah.
also Kratos can beat a mind reader. So what? What's your point? It's
Well,
not a
I
perfect
think.
ability.
Yeah, but I mean,
But yeah,
I think at the point where you're trying to.
let's just get this out of the room. It's going to be compared to Spy Family. So how is it? How is it compared to Spy
Is it?
Family?
I think it would be
Yes.
more compared to like Eminence, something like
Ugh,
Eminence and
gross.
Shadow, or
How about we
like
not talk about
yeah,
that
I
series?
think it's gonna be Eminence and Shadow and Assassination
it's
Classroom.
Princess
Like
Principal, and also when it came out,
Princess Principal, yeah. As well.
Nier.
So,
What was that? What was that freaking series about? I keep forgetting that like you know what that series is, the battle royale where there was one blue hair girl and one red hair girl, plus like all the other fucking psychopath girls. What was that? And like one of the girls had like the scars or whatever, right? Do you remember that? The blonde girl had like the
Was it
scars on her
was
back?
it
What?
recent?
it's called Kill a Kill Spire.
What?
Was it
No, it's not
recent?
recent. It's like the one where it was all like Yuri pairings, right? With the battle royale.
Mermaid something?
I don't know.
Yeah. And like one girl
The
was in a
Battle
wheelchair
Royale,
or
the
whatever.
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
No.
What is that series called? Valkyrie Drive?
Anyways, no, 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 no. But yeah, I'll talk. I'll try to find it later. But
Yeah.
it's like it kind of. I think it will, especially for people who like don't watch it and just kind of judge it by the cover. It will definitely be more compared to again something like a Princess Principal or like again um Eminence and Shadow because it's all like the cute girls just like walking and it's like oh it's all there and being like oh we are the secret whatever the secret shadow cult or whatever it is. Aqua the Riddle Cecilia coming in hot. She got
Ugh.
she 50 points to
Uh,
Gryffindor. 50 points to Gryffindor. Good work, Cecilia. Yes, Aquaman and Riddle. Sorry, I'm a very old man. I forget these things. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Aquaman and Riddle when I first heard about it, to be honest.
That's
But that
grim.
was again yeah. Yeah, Aquaman
oh,
the Riddle is way out there. But
well
there's
then, speaking of,
yeah.
okay, well, that brought up. What about Hidan no Arya? How will they fare
Hidan no
against
Arya is
Arya?
way. Hidan no Arya, they literally like Arya goes Super Saiyan near the end of like that series,
Yeah.
right? She or no, like or even Kenji, like they all have like him, Kenji and Arya at least have like Super Saiyan formations at the end of that freaking series. So it's like I don't know. I think that's a little bit different.
But
But
Kenji
yeah.
only uses an illegally modified Beretta. It's called his Kenji Special.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, that was all I had for Spy Classroom. Again, if you
So
do
what's
want to
the
kind of check
rating?
out,
Why would I
um,
watch this over Assassination Classroom, Spy Family, or
it's
Battle
not the.
Royale?
It's so different. It's like Spy Family and like Spy Family is definitely. I don't think. I mean, Spy Family. There's like way more. It's more about the individual characters in Spy Family as opposed to like the whole like spy shtick that's going on more in Spy Classroom. Assassination Classroom is just again an entirely different beast. Yeah. Aquaman and Riddle. No, was Aquaman and Riddle and Princess Principal close to each other? I feel like they were at least a year apart from each other, right?
No. Akuma Riddle is
Really?
like quite old. Like
Yeah, Aquaman and Riddle is very old. Or not very old, but like pretty old these days. It's 2014. I know. I definitely know Princess Principal was within the past like 3 years. I want to say.
um
I was 17 actually. I'm so bad.
yeah.
Wow, that was pretty old too. Fuck. God damn it, we're so old in here. Anyways, yeah. But I think comparing, I think if people legitimately are like, oh, spies and girls must be like Assassination Classroom or Spy Family, I think they are like lunatics. You should never listen to anything that they say. I think more seasoned, more reasonable anime watchers, if they were to just judge the cover, would probably link it to Princess Principal, Akuma no Riddle, or uh, Eminence in Shadow. One of the three. In which case, again, I think it's obviously a very different turn from all of them. If you do like a more sort of, I guess, milder in a sense slice of life, where you're kind of focusing a little bit more on like the spy missions instead of the girls just talking in the room like in their academy classroom rooms every day and being like, oh, like what kind of skills do you have? Oh, that's cute. Instead of that, them actually just going out and doing the missions. If you like that, I guess please do check this out by Field Studios, light novel original. I would give this probably 5.5 or 6 out of 10. It definitely
So,
like was okay, but I
so
wouldn't be
worse
like,
than Blue
wow.
Lock. I got it. You want
Yes.
you want a slice of life where they
I was less and less of a fan of Blue Lock as that series went on, but Blue Lock is probably a slightly better watch than Spy Classroom. I
you
will
you
admit
you
that.
want real assassinations? Watch Blue Lock because they assassinate each other's shot at the
Careers?
Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
career.
the
I think that's a slightly different
my
scale of
ego shall
danger, but
devour your ego or something like that. How did it go?
yeah. Or like the only like phrase that they say like every 5 minutes
Ego.
in that series is just, yeah, ego is one thing, but it's also like, oh, like what is it? Isagi Yoichi, right? Is the main character. It's
I
like
don't remember.
it's like, Isagi, you're the true striker, or whatever it is. They keep saying that shit. It's like, wow, he
No,
has that ambition. He really is that true striker, or whatever it is. They have that like internal monologue shit. I hate that shit. But anyways, that is it for Spy Classroom.